Interview, huh? Hi, my name is Dennis. I'm 20 years old and I'm studying here in Australia, Sydney, at the Raffles College. I wasn't born here though. I was born in Sweden and I lived there my whole life. As a personality, as of interest before I came into photography was that I sat home playing video games and never went to the city. I didn't even know how to get to the city. Imagine that kind of person going to Australia to study photography to achieving his dream. It's a bit different, I think. I use my camera is the Nikon D800 with the 24-7 lens. Have some flashes that I play around with sometimes, and when I don't play around with flashes, I actually write down my ideas that I get. I'm a very creative photographer and a very emotional photographer, and often I get these ideas just walking down the street, maybe looking at a person that looks a bit interesting, or just on the bus home I find something interesting to think about and I write it down. Or even on the flight back home to Sweden, I get an idea and I write it down in my iPhone. And I also want to sketch the ideas to kind of get that look where I know what the image looks like. And I've done that with a lot of images. I've taken notes for 2 or 3 years now, and I'm gonna keep on taking notes from my ideas so I can create more and more and more artistic photos that shows emotion and creativity in a dose of unreal. I love unreal photos and I love using Photoshop because to get that unreal look in an image, you need Photoshop, because some things you can't just capture in the real world. You just have to use your imagination and work in it in Photoshop, and that's what I do from time to time. And one of those examples of using Photoshop and putting lots of photographs together and just creating this artistic photograph is a piece of art I did in my second year called Destruction's Beauty. We got this assignment from our teacher that I had to create an opposite in an image. So I took a bird, photographed a bird, put it in the sky in a cityscape, and the city was destroyed. It was hell on earth, but in the sky it was like heaven. It was freedom. So that's why I call it Destruction's Beauty, because I pictured that exact same picture in my head, and I actually got it out, and that opened up so much for me because I knew what I wanted to do now and I'm capable of it. But to actually get that in a more professional looking way, I need to study. Where? In Australia. So that's basically my story. My dream is to have an exhibition to make people feel and have the most unemotional person in the world come in and looking at my photographs and cry. I see myself, or I want to see myself as the world's greatest photographer. Therefore I have a goal, therefore I have something to strive for. My images are not always planned or not always sketched. Sometimes I just create these photographs out of the moment, and these images are exactly as good as the same amount of good as the ones of my ideas. And that's one thing I love about photography, that you don't know what to happen. You don't know. You're capturing something in life. You're capturing a moment, and one of these moments is two girls walking onto the beach. I was actually just shooting a landscape of the Bondi Beach, and then two girls came on, and one sat at a rock and one just stood there in the middle of my shot. I didn't even frame her, and I just took a long exposure of that, and that showed so much emotion, and I call that image Inspire, because she looked so inspired, so motivated. She looked forward onto the unknown ocean, bright sky, and felt motivated, felt like she could take on the world, whereas the girl on the beach sitting on the rocks was the complete opposite of that. She ignored the beauty in the world. She had no motivation and no dream. She was, in a way, dead inside, it looks like. And these images is something I want to continue through the rest of my life. And hopefully I will. That's my story.